Good evening, I'm Giuseppe Basile, I'm the analyst and trader. You can find the website www.flipstalkertrading.com. I also post regularly on Twitter using the Flipstalker nickname. Good evening, today is August the 9th, 2015. It's 10:30 p.m. time here in Toronto. And in this video, I'm going to review for you the 14 markets I follow. As usual, I review this market for my newsletter subscribers, and I'll dive right into the first market, which is the euro dollar here. As you know, this market has been finding in the past participation at that 139 level, as shown from this measure move, which was pierced initially in 2011 here, and then started being respected here 139.60, which brought price into well below that first target. So there is a second target here still looming. We don't know if we're going to get there, but what we have to observe is that the extension, the continuation short here is pierced. So to me, there are no shorts at the moment on the larger time frame that want to keep pushing this price lower. So it's not impossible for this market, believe it or not, to see a move higher all the way into 122.27. That would be a new short on the very large time frame. Now, when we look at the daily time frame here, we have to notice that, of course, and you can see also with the naked eye here that this market has been moving laterally, but most importantly, now longs start being respected here. When we trace from the lows to highs in May here, we see that this 108.46 was pierced once, twice, and now for the first time this level start being respected. So this is a potential indication that this market could actually break all the way the shorts here if he gets back. So the first thing I would think is, first of all, if you're in a long, this market has the potential to get into 111.37. If that level does not hold that area, this market can break the 112.15 excuse me, and continue higher. So that would be aligned with the scenario in the weekly time frame. Moving to the S&P500, you will remember that this market has traded back in beginning of July here at 2036. This market has target above. As we look at the latest move here, we have bears, which actually were not capable of pushing this price, bulls that were not capable of pushing this price higher, and bears were not capable of containing this price. So this move again is a lateral move on top of a long, so I anticipate a continuation higher. That does not mean that the 2036 could not be tested again. Okay, but this market is a lateral move, and lower, and there is a level here, as I believe the longs eventually are going to win here. It's an important 2080 if this level is retested and holds in the coming weeks. That's a good entry for a continuation higher. Moving to the dollar index, the dollar index is actually broken the all the way halfway back short here, which means that this market is actually controlled by longs, at least on the weekly time frame here, although we are seeing a new correction lower here, and this could actually continue lower and push price all the way into the next measure move long here, 95.90. When we look at this market on a larger time frame, we can see that this market has traded the 90, the 99, the 100 level, so the 94 level here, and it has all the potential to go into the 105, 104.56, and then 105.90. Gold has been moving laterally in the last few weeks here. That could be an indication that this area of potential support here, which is still holding, and it ends at 154, 54.30, 54. That is still holding, and price has been moving laterally. Nothing to notice here. You will remember that in the past we had the market trading into this area and then pushing price lower. That next measured move from the level to lows never traded. So this market started moving in extensions, and now we have one of the level we can watch on the daily is on the smaller time frame is definitely this second target level, that 111.20 here. And on a larger time frame we can also look at higher level. You remember that market here has traded into the first target then below, so we can actually get aggressive here. When we do that and we trace from lows to lows, that's another level that we have to keep into account. So if this market does not continue lower, it will have two levels that it needs to battle with charts. The first one is 1109, the second one is 1120. Moving to silver, in silver as well, we saw a similar behavior, lateral move for the last two weeks here. There are a number of levels that we want to look at, and actually there is a sequence of measured move here which can be modeled as follows. And when we look at this measured move with price getting into the second target here, the next measured move is clearly a violation, as we can see here, with price getting into that level and start to move higher. That's a basket setup. So this read would actually suggest us this market could actually now start, and he has put a double bottom here and never challenged the low that we saw before. So it's not impossible for this market to show a little rally here, potentially into 1610 here. So that's not something we can put aside or discount in this market. Moving to the US dollar versus Japanese yen, you remember that this market has moved from 120.71 pretty quickly there, and there was an extension long from this level to high, which we were capable of identifying before the fact. The 125.15 never traded because the high stopped at 06. Now, you know, I would consider anyway, to be on the safe side, the next measured move here to be a valid level we have to look at, and that would be the 123.33. If market gets into the level and bounces, that's a long that we have to consider. Now, within this move, we knew that this move was not well formed. When we saw bulls not responding to this measured move here, and this was a break below 123.60, and as you can see, price got into the first target, and then Bassett set up that strong move lower started. Okay, so there's another level you want to keep into account, because as the previous target has not been tested and actually reached, the all the way halfway back, and even if that was reached, the all the way halfway back here, the 124.04 is still a level that we have to watch. So a number of levels here below 123.80. There is going to be a much lower level that is still a level of support here, 123.31, and then is going to be the all the way halfway back. And you know that we don't buy this level blindly. I always use the Fib Stalker, the Fib Stalker methods, and specifically use the Fib Stalking timing technique here, whereas I study the sequence of measured move in the smaller time frame that pushes this price lower. And when the participation on the larger time frame is stronger than the participation on the smaller time frame, that's a time where we can enter and get a furious trade. Moving to the Euro versus Japanese yen here, we in the past few weeks we identified this move from highs to lows in July here, and 137.18 has been participated two times here, third time and fourth time here. So it's not impossible for this level to be retested again. Now notice that bulls on the upside here have failed, but they started supporting this price. So we have to look at how this price is going to how this price is going to behave when it gets back to 137.18. Okay, and if it gives Fib stalking timing entry, the shorts should be played here. Pound versus Japanese yen, a very similar situation as we saw um, in the US dollar versus Japanese yen. So the difference here is that this level has never traded, and so I'm going to look at 119.130 level here for a test, and we'll look at what happens there. When we look at the swing move here, so that the 50% levels, the bulls didn't show up at this level that I mentioned last week as well, and so this price can actually now correct into 121.91.30. Moving to the pound versus US dollar, this market also is in a larger short here, which is with strong participation. There's a short raised from the highs in July last year to lows in April. As you can see, these levels can actually be looming for months here, and then when price gets there, you can get participation, and then you use and study the sequence of measured move as the market gets there, and then where you have to enter. And this short was also reinforced by another signal here, given and respected a number of times. When you get these trades, you might be stopped out, but without a loss, because I implement Phillies trades, so that's the way you actually factor in the fact that the market can do anything. So you have to, your job as a trader is to get Phillies trades. When that happens, you can actually continue and actually continue trading, and actually you can actually profit from price moving to your targets. The target of this measured move here, it's at previous lows 150-190. When you do that, if the market goes in your direction, you can reap the profits. Otherwise, you actually are protected, because you only lose cost of trading and slippage, and that's the secret sauce to make money in the market, to protect yourself when the market goes against you, and to take profits when the market goes in your direction. So in this case, we have a market which is being pushed lower on the weekly time frame and also on the daily time frame. So it's not unexpected to see in the coming 1 to 2 weeks 150, 190 being retested again. Australian dollar, US dollar, as well as the New Zealand dollar are actually recovering here, and you will remember that both these markets are into a large area of potential participation on the upside, and on the daily we have seen this extension bringing price into the first target and second target eventually. The next measured move, it's currently in play, and as you can see here, has been participated on Tuesday last week. It was rejected, and now price went into that level again on Friday, and now we will see this Monday whether this market is going to continue lower for a new extension, which is likely to break also the larger support, or if 0.7461 is based on the upside, there is the possibility for this market to continue a move higher, at least into the next level of resistance, which is going to be 0.76 or 0.77 here. So if you enter this market at lows or near lows, and the market goes above 47.61, there's a good opportunity that the market is going to continue. Sorry, 74.61 is going to continue into 77 here. So it's a good opportunity here. New Zealand dollar versus US dollar, really the same, very similar situation here. We had this market reacting to a level. There was an extension, a jumping extension that we can only identify after the fact. Very, very important. I'm not mentioning here that I was capable of identifying this before the fact, although we identified the failure of this sequence anyway. So sequence lower has failed. If this market challenges again 0.7621 and then pierces on the upside 0.7774, then there is the possibility for this market to actually trade into the all the way halfway back 0.7116. Okay, if that happens, so if market goes above 67.73 here, there is the possibility for seeing 71.16. US dollar versus Canadian dollar reached the first target that we indicated, that was our 132 level. Why is that happening? Because when we look at this market on the larger time frame, we know that this market is challenging and out of potential resistance, but we had a level that we are capable of identifying before the fact here, which actually is an extension that traded nicely, and once price has actually respected that area, we knew that there was a first target and a second target as well. Remember that this is an extension, so 138, 137, here 97, 138 is a potential target, second target for this market. Now there are two possibilities for this market. Either this market continues higher, or it retraces all the way into the next measure move. This is a long retrace here into 125.70 and then a continuation higher. Remember though, we actually traded this extension here, the 120, the 120.70 level, which has the potential to bring price into that second target. Euro versus Canadian dollar, and this market is also interesting on the weekly time frame. It shows a sequence of measured move, and it shows, first of all, on the short side of things, there was an all the way halfway back from highs in March last year to lows here in April. And as you can see, price got into that area and now is actually slowing down, because there is obviously participation on the short time frame in that area. When the market, before the market got into the level, it traded longs here at 135, 136, which brought price into the first target. So there are two possibilities for this market: continuation higher into 148.63 before a larger retrace, or this market can actually be pushed lower in that area of participation short into the next level long, which would be the 140 level. So if that happens, that's a 400 pips move, and once there, we will reevaluate and see whether there will be participation continuation higher or the stronger participation on the short side. The Canadian dollar is weak, obviously, here, and that's the reason the euro is moving higher against the Canadian dollar. And if the euro resumes its move higher, there is a possibility for this market to just continue to the second target. And finally, US dollar versus Swiss franc. You remember last week I mentioned that was a 0.9726 level and a potential for the level to be breached. That what's happened last week. Now it's important to look at what is pushing this price higher. So after the fact, I've found a potential level here, which is explaining very well the participation that we had at this level and pushed price into the first target. This is an extension, so there is a potential for this market to get into the 0.9930 level here. If that happens, we're going to keep studying the sequence of measured move, tracing from highs to highs. And this is it for this week. I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope this review is useful for your trading. I want to tell you that I started enrolling for the September session of my Fibstalker Methods Coaching Program. If you are interested, just drop me an email and I'll give you a very good offer with 7 bonuses for several thousands of dollars. So that's the right time to get involved. I will also publish the results of some of my students, and you can get a clear idea that the Fibstalker Methods Coaching Program can help you in becoming profitable, and then I'll keep helping you in becoming consistent as well. Thank you very much for your attention and have a great week. Bye bye now.